host VCon. For
Yeah.
everyone joining this show, I am getting the honor, the pleasure, and the thrill to talk to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Aaron Nowak of Slab Stocks. I would give a applause myself, but it would sound weird.
I appreciate it, Vante. Thanks for
Of
having me, man.
course. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And again, I just want to reiterate, I mean, I really enjoyed talking to you at VCon and just getting to talk to you about cards and getting to know you from Wisconsin. I feel like we were just old friends reconnecting again.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Great time.
Definitely. So I mean, I guess the most important question to start this whole thing off would be, are you ready for the national? That's the biggest question.
Ready meaning excited, yes. Ready meaning if it's tomorrow, would you have everything ready to go?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot that has to get done between now and then. The next 2-ish months will for sure be very hectic, but it's always the best time of the year regardless. So I'm
Absolutely.
super excited. We'll have our booth again this year. We'll have two booths, two 10 by 10s. We'll be taking in-person drop-off submissions for SGC there through our grading service. We'll be collecting donations for Camp Kesem again, doing our grand finale at trade night again with Ryan and Jimmy's trade night. So there's just gonna be a lot going on. I'm very excited for it.
Perfect. Absolutely. And actually, you hit on something I was going to go down the list on is Camp Kesem. I know you guys do a lot of fundraising opportunities for that camp. I was wondering if you want to talk about that a little bit more, give a little bit more insight for anyone who might not know what that is.
Yeah, definitely. So Camp Kesem is a organization. They've got multiple different camps around the country, but I was involved at UW-Madison in Wisconsin, where I went to college, and it hosts a camp to send kids there for free whose parents are impacted by cancer. So it allows them to go. Parents have got a lot of financial, medical bills to deal with through the cancer process, and these kids can go for a week, have fun, be with other kids that are like themselves, going through similar things. And it's a great thing for these kids. It's aside of the whole cancer process. I don't think a lot of people think about until maybe you're introduced to Camp Kesem. But I couldn't imagine. I was never in the situation. I know a lot of people involved in Kesem, like even as they get older, did go through it when they were younger. But I couldn't imagine, if I was 10 years old having a parent dealing with cancer, that'd be totally different than what my childhood was like. And I can't stand thinking about it. Right. So I love helping out the kids. And then started something with Slab Stocks eventually, where we do a charity night once a year, and we've done it for 2 straight years now, over $250,000 in fundraising in 2 years. And this third year, we've already got some good start going. So I'll have some announcements coming out quite soon here, hopefully within the next week and a half. But it'll be a great summer once again for the kids.
Perfect. And that's an amazing, amazing opportunity and thing that you're doing for the community. It's a huge step. And I think more than anything, everyone's going to be able to relate to something like that and wanting to help out. So I'll definitely include that when I start posting this content about how they can get more involved and definitely donating to that because it's a huge cause that definitely needs more attention.
Yeah, I
Um,
appreciate it, Vontae. Generally, what we do is we just take in, any type of card donations. We have a link for the fundraising page too, but we do a big sale every year around the national, either if it's on the PWCC weekly auction. We've done some whatnot streams in the past, some streams on our own YouTube page in the past, but we'll have a way to sell it all. We'll be selling some in person at the national this year. If you're going to go to Chicago, stop by the booth, come to the trade night. There'll be plenty of things available. All the money will go to the kids, and great deals too come out of it because for us, everything is donation. We want to make sure collectors, while they're supporting, are also, finding deals themselves through it. So it's great. It's a win-win for everyone. And I appreciate all the donors and sponsors all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something we can definitely get behind and definitely push. So definitely. I really appreciate you speaking on that. And so
For sure.
I'll take a step away from that and you hit on the next big thing, Wisconsin. I know you're a big UW-Madison graduate, recent graduate as well. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I know you're a big Milwaukee guy, so I had to go down the rabbit hole. So I mean, when you go about collecting your cards, do you focus on Milwaukee or do you focus on anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I've got cards of the Bucks, like a card of each Bucks player. I've got, a nice Giannis autograph. I've got a Bobby Portis. It's actually a Bulls card, but it's from the rookie year. It's a championship tag, so it's got the
Mm.
big gold like 6X champion on it. It's super cool. It's the only championship tag I have. That's a Bobby Portis Noir RPA. I've got Drew Holiday, Immaculate, number pieces out of 21 or whatever they're called in Immaculate now, and then Chris Middleton autograph and Brooke Lopez stuff. But I got a lot of Brewers stuff from the past. I was collecting the Brewers hard between like 2018 and 2019, when we were in our modern day heyday with
Yeah.
Yelich as and that, back-to-back MVP almost. He should have been.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of, Yelich and Kane. Of course, some Keston Hero who was killing it his rookie year. Now, not so much.
Yeah.
And then I got a lot of Chelsea cards too. I'm a big soccer and Chelsea fan, so I got a ton of Chelsea cards. I got a lot of Pixar cards, a lot of Stranger Things cards. I guess pretty much anything I like. I've got a card of it. I got a Mario Kart card. I've got
Oh
Pablo
man.
Picasso card. Like, my PC is just comprised of a bunch of things that I enjoy and like watching and like interacting with. That's how I've always been my whole life, is just, cards are a way to have something in your possession, reminds you of things you like, enjoy, and times that, are great. And yeah, I wouldn't trade them for anything.
Absolutely. Now that's where I was going next. So it seems that you kind of pick based off just what makes you happy. Just what brings you back to, a happy period. Now I also know that, one of your first cards was the Kobe Topps rookie, one that you had been
Mhm.
wanting for a while. What does that card mean for you? And I mean, I got to be honest, when I was doing my research and I came across that, I think I read that you had kept it for like 10 years and then it
Yeah.
graded a PSA 9.
So I got it at like my first card show ever about. It was a raw 1996 Topps Kobe Bryant rookie. And I think I traded it was my first real big card memory was getting a Matt Ryan, no helmet, rookie, super short print from 2008 Topps. I'd rip a bunch of those packs when I was like 10 years old with my brother. And that was my first like real memorable interaction with cards. Took it to a card show, realized it had like $30 book value to it at the time.
Yeah.
And I traded it for a handful of rookies between, I think it was like Kobe and KD and Aaron Rodgers. And I have all of those still. Had some Shaqs and Dirk. I think I lost across moving different processes, moving from Wisconsin, Minnesota back to Wisconsin, all that stuff. Lost a couple of them, but either way, still have the Kobe, still the Rodgers, and the two Kevin Durant's. And I sent them all to get graded. It was probably like 3 years ago now. And the Kobe got the 9, so it stayed in the case the entire time. Got a 9. I acquired that in 2008, and then the Aaron Rodgers got a 10, and that's sat in a binder since 2008, and then or 2009, maybe around there, and then. The two Kevin Durant's got 8s, but those were, one of them was a black border card, super hard to grade. So,
Yeah.
but either way, I mean, those are the cards that aren't leaving my collection. Like there was a point to where Kobe Bryant PSA 9s were over $1,000, Aaron Rodgers PSA 10s were over $1,000, KD 8s were probably even like 500. I would have sold them at the time if it was about the money, but it wasn't. I knew that those were very high values for the populations that those cards hold, but you can't replace the memory of getting your first cards, especially when it means so much to me. This is, massive part of my life. So those will be sticking with me for a long time. Hopefully I have my kids in after that.
There you go. Definitely. So it sounds like, and I heard this quote recently, I believe Ken Golden said it. The cards are about getting as close to the celebrity as possible. Would you say that that's kind of the feeling you get, or would you say it's much more about the memories of actually collecting the cards?
I don't agree with that. I
No?
mean, yeah, but everyone's got their own opinions, right? I'm not
Yeah,
going to tell someone their
yeah.
opinions wrong, but like that's just not my opinion. Like I don't look at players as necessarily like celebrities. Like obviously they are, they have massive followings, but for myself, cards is family to me. Like I've been doing my family my whole life, and I actually got everyone into it. It wasn't like my dad was collecting. It kind of came down from I got some cards passed down from my mom when she was a kid, with my grandma, my mom's mom, and then that really kickstarted me. So like, well, I did get cards from my parents at one point. It wasn't like they were collecting, like, hey, you should go, I want to do this with you. I got my whole family into it, and that's what it means to me. And watching Giannis on the TV winning the finals, like that's the type of stuff I care about. It's not necessarily about like getting as close to Giannis as possible by having an autograph with him. But everyone thinks about it differently. So
Absolutely. Now you hit on Giannis, and it's very obvious Giannis is a big family guy. Loves his kids, loves his wife, talks about them all the time. Does that make him a bit more valuable to you when you start collecting
100%,
it? Definitely.
100%. Giannis is the best person that could have ever been a Milwaukee legend. Hank Aaron too, right? But I wasn't
Yes.
alive for when Hank Aaron was current present day
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee legend. Hank Aaron's my favorite legend of all time. I have his rookie card, and that was my card. That was like my big grail chase card as a kid.
You're
10
knocking
years
down my
old.
content, man. I have that down there.
We'll get to that. I'll get back to Giannis then. But for Giannis, it's like super family guy, like hard worker, like he's like, I know he's from Greece and obviously like African descent, but like he is like the peak Milwaukee, like, work ethic, all that stuff. And I love it. And he fits in so perfectly. And, for the last 5 years, everyone's like, Giannis to LA, Giannis to New York. Where's he going next? Giannis to Miami. I'm like, guys, just cut it out. He's happy. He's in here. Like this, he's not a show guy, right? He's like, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to love my family. I'm going to do well for my team. And that's exactly what he did. He won a finals. And yeah, we all want more. Of course, I wanted to win it this year. We were the best team in the NBA this year, then blew it hard and he got hurt. So I'm hoping that we can get that feeling again of a second title, because I think Giannis deserves it. I mean, Giannis
Mhm.
works for it all the time. It was very unfortunate we didn't win this year. Budenholzer's brother died. It was just a very difficult, I think, week or 2 weeks for that whole team.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed Bucks games with friends and family and downtown Deer District. Like it's my best memories from these last couple of years, along with going to England with my family too. All that stuff adds up, and it's awesome.
Absolutely. And I think about it all the time with Giannis as well. I tell my family all the time, I think we left Wisconsin too soon. Because if we had waited just a couple more years, we would have been there for Giannis.
Yeah. Well,
um,
I was gone from Wisconsin at the start of his career because I was in Minnesota at the time. My family moved to Minnesota because my dad got a job at General Mills. But we eventually returned, and I got back here around 2019, around there.
mhm,
Well, I mean, I was going to school since 2016 in Madison, but
mhm.
yeah, family came back around 2019, so we were like just back right in time
Right.
to hit the ground running, and I'm super happy we moved back at the time. Yeah.
I can definitely understand that. And I mean, you hit it on the head. He embodies being from Wisconsin, that grit, grind, work ethic, blue collar, nose to the grindstone, do what you need to do to get the job done. Personality that I think so many of us come from, especially in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And so it's always refreshing to see an athlete who takes their career with the focus on that as opposed to the glitz and glamour that may come from it. Something that I've noticed is that seems to be a big trend around international players in general, especially when they come over to American sports, and you see that their work ethic is just a bit stronger
Yeah.
than American players at times. Nikola Jokic is another example. I think he was quoted as saying recently, it's hard for him to play in All-Star games because they don't take it seriously. And so he, being the tough player that he wants to take it seriously every single game. And I get that same feeling from Giannis, and I have a feeling we'll see that from Joel Embiid as well and other international players. But I bring it up to say I know that you're a big international card buyer, and I know you're big into football cards as well. I know you're a PSG fan. I know you're an Mbappe fan. What does international card buying do for you? Understanding that you love the international card, yeah, the international cards. You can buy them international. The players tend to have a bit of a stronger work ethic in some capacity. What does that do for you?
First of all, to make it clear for those that don't know me, Chelsea fan first. I do like
There you
Mbappe a
go.
lot. I'm a big Chelsea fan. I do enjoy watching PSG, especially because Messi was there these last couple of years. So I went to a PSG match when I was just in France.
Hmm.
But Chelsea fan first always. Just want to make
That's
it clear.
fair. That's fair.
Second, I was big on Mbappe though. Like I
Yeah.
had a ton of Mbappe cards. I
Right.
was super confident in this guy for obvious reasons. He played great at Monaco. He was great at France at a young
Mhm.
age in 2018 for the World Cup. All the stars, writing was in the stars type of thing for him. So it worked out
Right.
very well buying and selling his cards. But as for buying, the international players, like as I went through my collecting and sports fandom, like I really use collecting as the vehicle to learn a lot about different things.
Mm.
If I can get into the cards and enjoy researching the cards and researching the players, I start to watch the stuff. I start to
Mm.
learn more. I became a huge Formula One fan in the last 2 years. And I even started watching Formula One before the cards even really were big. You know what?
Mm.
And even I'd even start with Drive to Survive. I started with my brother telling us about races, and we started to watch races on the weekend. But besides the point, I just think there's so much out there that people don't know, because in America, it's getting a little bit different now. They're pushing a lot more global sports, but in America
Mm.
for the longest time, like even when I was younger, it's like I didn't even know what Chelsea was when I was like
Mm.
12 years old. It took
Absolutely.
until the last like 4 years for me to even understand, or even 3-4 years to even understand who these people are, who the clubs are, all this different stuff. It's like that's crazy how like I was a big sports fan. Like I was watching
Mm.
Sports Center all the time. I was
Right.
reading about it online all the time. I had no idea about any of this. I never
Right.
watched one live Messi match on TV until like 2019.
Right.
Other than World Cup stuff, just having the World Cup on and watching
Right.
Messi.
Absolutely.
And that's like I think most people's interaction point if you're an American
Right.
sports fan. So like I really got into it. I started buying a lot of the players and cards, and it just was a very fun. I almost call it a game for me.
Yeah.
Like reading about them first. I watch them on TV. I watch like every Chelsea match now. They've actually played today at 2 o'clock Central Time, so I'm super
Uh,
excited about that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's a great time. You do a lot of buying and selling soccer cards online, in person at shows, and the community is great. It's really nice connecting to people globally. I have a lot of friends now in England, met some people in Germany, some other countries and stuff like that. So very cool.
Definitely. So what's been your favorite thing? Because you hit something very interesting that I don't think, even myself, I don't think we think about as card collectors, in that you have to, it's not about your previous experience and then going to buy the cards. It's maybe about using the cards as a vehicle to learn something else. And so with that, I know that you've taken that foray, as you mentioned, into F1. I know there's Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton are kind of at the top right now, standing up. But then going back to football, I'll be honest, I'm stepping into football right now, especially after the last year's World Cup. Very exciting, a really good matchup. So what can potential card collectors look to learn or look to kind of gain or look to just kind of figure out as they jump into some of these cards where they may not know the top players or the top cards or anything of that effect?
Yeah, the thing about this is that I talk a lot about different people about like different things like soccer and Formula One and obviously football, as you call it. It's hard, who's watching is the audience, but
Yeah.
you gotta at least like watching it to really
Right.
want to learn about it. I wouldn't buy and sell soccer
Hmm.
football cards if I didn't like watching, if I wasn't a
Hmm.
fan of the game, if I wasn't a fan of the players, a fan of the sport. Like I never tell someone who's just like a diehard baseball fan who's just like, this is stupid. Like, okay, then
Right.
that's okay. Go collect baseball cards because that makes you happy. Like
Right.
that's what it's all about. So first of all, you gotta figure out if you like the thing. Then from
Hmm.
there, there's a lot of players, there's a lot of leagues, there's a lot to understand. I mean, it really does take reading things online, reading Twitter,
Hmm.
reading different articles about Champions League. What is it? Watching highlights on YouTube of some past performance, like stuff like that that just can
Hmm.
kind of get you acclimated with. And that's talking to others. Honestly, I've learned probably the most by connecting with the community and talking to others. Of course, we started Slab Stocks FC,
Hmm.
a soccer specific community. We have bi-weekly episodes running. Andrew's a guy that runs them for us. He's also from Wisconsin, but he's a huge Arsenal fan for the last decade plus. And like just talking to people that have been around it for the last decade plus has made me, far and above
Hmm.
more knowledgeable than even just sitting there and looking up different things online. I have a bunch of friends who've been following forever from England now that I talk to all the time. And it's like that type of stuff. I pick up on it, I learn it and enjoy it even more because I'm connecting with other people over. If I just sat here,
Hmm.
and tried to do it all myself, I'm sure I could have done it, but it's by far and away more enjoyable and learn more faster by connecting with the community. It's super important.
Definitely. Community. So let's say we have some potential card collectors who want to know, where do I find, a community of individuals like you found that will let me kind of get in there and find out more about that. What would you recommend as far as someone getting involved that way?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like I said, we run the bi-weekly YouTube video Slab Stacks FC where Andrew covers a lot of different topics. It's a great place just to
Yeah.
learn and listen on a bi-weekly basis. Obviously the communication, you might not, you can comment on YouTube, but it's not like you're really like super involved in that way.
Right.
I'd say look on Instagram and find different people who regularly post soccer content. We try to produce what we can. The bi-weekly episodes is probably the most that we do for soccer, but
Hmm.
like Sunday League Investors is a place where they have just a lot of different soccer people come and watch breaks and talk in the comments, this and that. Like joining live streams of people that do soccer card sales. You don't have to buy anything. We run
Yeah.
live streams sometimes for soccer cards, or even at shows. If you go to like a local card show and you see someone has a lot of soccer cards, just start asking them questions. Like who
Hmm.
are they? Where are they from? How do they connect with other people? Like that type of stuff, you just have to kind of put yourself out there for.
Hmm.
And don't expect it to happen like overnight. Like you're not just gonna like
Hmm.
jump on one stream and like learn everything or know everyone in the stream or be able to talk to people the next morning. Right? It just takes a little bit of like constantly showing up, constantly putting yourself
Hmm.
out there. That's the type of stuff that really goes a long way.
Definitely. So the old VCon message of patience, being
Yeah,
patient and just keep showing up. Gotcha.
100%.
Definitely. Perfect. Thank you for that. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
giving us that gem because that's very important. I'm sure to someone who's going to be stepping into this hobby, it's very easy to say, oh, look at all these cards. I should be collecting this, this, and this, and not knowing that a community may need to come first. So thank
Hmm.
you. I really appreciate that
Yeah.
insight. So I wanted to ask you as well, most importantly, knowing that you are a big football fan, I mean, who's your GOAT? I mean, there's Mbappe, Ronaldo, Pele, Messi, Ronaldinho, Holland even now. So who's your guy? Who are you
It's
collecting?
it's Messi. It's Messi
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Messi's
Me too.
one of
Yeah,
my favorite players, and there's no doubt. After winning that World Cup, there's no question in my mind he's the GOAT. He's done
yeah.
things that other people can't do. He's scored 90 plus goals in a single season. He's won multiple Champions Leagues. He's won multiple La Liga. Well, he destroyed La Liga when he was
Hmm.
there against Real Madrid. Real Madrid didn't even do that well in La Liga during the Messi era. They did win a ton of Champions League trophies, obviously, but Messi's the GOAT. You gotta respect legends like Pele, though. You have to respect
Yeah.
Maradona, even as a Messi fan. Like you have to respect Ronaldo. doing it in multiple leagues and multiple teams, you know, winning with Manchester United, not as a striker, then going to Real Madrid and becoming an unbelievable goal scorer and dominating Champions League with Real Madrid, going to Juventus later in his career, winning Serie A. You know, he has really done it in a lot of different stages of his career. Obviously, he's more on the downturn than Messi right now. Like, Messi is still putting up nice numbers at PSG this year. Yes, PSG fell on their face. PSG actually can't ever get it together and win a big trophy. But you know, I do foresee Messi. I really hope he stays in European football for like 2 to 3 more years, because I don't think it's smart to go to Saudi Arabia for the money. I don't think it's smart going to MLS to maybe grow the brand and also for the money, because it'd be a ton of money in America. I really think going back to Barcelona, or maybe even a surprise move to the Premier League would really do him big in his career. I know he's still like, you know, 34. I think he's got to have 3 really good years left in him. And getting like one more big title with in his career would, I think, be huge. Even though he's already won everything, he could retire tomorrow and be the GOAT.
Yeah.
I just think from like the longevity standpoint, like you still see Ronaldo putting himself out there trying to play. I know he's in Saudi Arabia now, but he did try at Manchester United later in his career. He scored some goals, but kind of failed in the end. Going back there. So I'd like to see Messi go back to Barcelona, win them another La Liga, and make them competitive in the Champions League again, because they fell out this year before the knockout stages even hit. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. But please, Barcelona, figure out your finances and bring Messi back.
There you go. So let me ask you this then, playing off of that. Let's say Messi does find his way back to Barcelona. What does that do for the market overall, do you think?
You know, I think his PSG cards are an interesting spice. A lot of PSG cards released in the last 2 years. We had an on-card autograph, ended up selling it before the season ended, because like I'm just not so confident he's going to be leaving PSG. He doesn't want to be there. They don't want him there, really. The fans boo him, which is stupid. He beat them in the World Cup, so now the fans boo him. Like that's just not a conducive environment, you know, to achieve great heights. So I think if he does go back to Barcelona, you're going to see a lot of excitement around his cards. You know, like does something that sells today sell for more to a year from now, 6 months from now? I can't predict that, obviously, but I do think, you know, 2017 Immaculate Patch Autos, Barcelona kit, those are exciting. If he's going back to Barcelona, finish out his career, wins another La Liga, maybe makes him competitive in the Champions League, like all that stuff. Him and Lewandowski would be so sick. That would be an amazing combination. And then you have got young guys all around him. So I'm really excited to see what happens. Or I'm not like, you know, I studied abroad in Barcelona for 5 months. That was right before I got into soccer. So I got into soccer big once I got home, because I was like, well, that's pretty cool. You know, never went to the match because I had like no money and they were expensive, which makes me sad, right? Hindsight, I would have taken one less trip to Vienna or something like that and spent the money on going to the match with Messi there. But you know, I don't even really know where I was going with that. But either way, I was in Barcelona. Oh, I know. So I'm not like a crazy Barcelona fan, because I wasn't huge into soccer when I was there, and like I don't really like how they've run their club the last 2-3 years. You know, the money's been a big issue for them, and it seems a little shady, this and that, interesting here and there. But I would just love to see Messi return for those fans' sake. I mean, those fans, like he's like literally the best thing ever to them. So I want him to return. I want to see them do well with Messi, because I'm a Messi fan.
Definitely. And you bring up a good point. It would bring a lot of excitement. And something I hadn't considered, patches may probably do a significantly better than autos would, just because of what the jersey would mean significantly as opposed to the auto there. Very insightful.
Combine them both together, and then you've got the grill,
and you've
right?
got it. You've got it. There it is. Perfect. Well, thank you for that insight. So I'm going to switch gears on you a little bit. And I know you're a big basketball guy. We talked about basketball a little bit as well. You know, something that's definitely on the front of the basketball world is LeBron's retirement. You know, at the last game, he kind of hinted at he's going to take some time to think about that. And there has been mention of a Last Dance director sort of following him around with his cameras, similar to Michael Jordan. What do you think if LeBron decides to retire tomorrow? How will that affect certain cards, knowing that LeBron's probably the face of the league right now in terms of cards and in general, just overall the face of the league?
The only reason why he would retire tomorrow is to take a year off before his son comes and plays in the NBA.
My gosh.
If he retires tomorrow, I think there's like a 99% chance he's coming back 1 year from now. And I think he would only retire tomorrow to take a year off, so that he does, like, he had a pretty bad foot injury this year, like where it would have needed surgery to repair it, but he ended up trying to heal as much as possible to then just play in the playoffs to, you know, hopefully get them, because he had to play, honestly, get them even in the playoffs. And I think that they didn't win the championship, but it's a wild success for where they were earlier in the season. Like, they were not in good position. Westbrook was there. They were doing terrible. So honestly, I'm not a Lakers fan at all, but kudos to them for
Yeah.
figuring it out. But yeah, I think if he does retire, let's say tomorrow, he would be back to, a year from now, making sure he avoids a major injury. Cause like, he's 38. Like he suffers a really bad, like, knee tear. Like, I don't know how, and he's otherworldly from like a physical and body healing
hmm
standpoint, but no one knows what happens. Can he not come
hmm
back and play? Could he not get on the court? Like, yeah, he could sit on the bench, but that's not the same as playing night in, night out with your son,
hmm Yep.
And who knows if Bronny even wants that too. He may comment like, oh, well, I gotta see what Bronny wants, right?
Yep.
So I don't think if he retires right now, it's like he's done. I think it's just taking a year off, most likely would be the situation. But even if he takes a year off and comes back, the Lakers still own his contract. They'd
Mm.
have to trade him to wherever Bronny gets drafted or trade up to get Bronny, something like that, right?
Right.
But that's a bad move for them because they would really screw up all their, long-term assets and stuff. I mean, you'd sell a bunch of tickets for what, 1-2 years, but
hmm
I don't think they would, give up the farm to go get Bronny because he's not that type of player. But it would be fun. Him and
Agreed.
his son in LA would be crazy.
Agreed.
So yeah, I don't think he's retiring. I'm not like a crazy LeBron fan myself, but I at least got respect what he did in his career. It's the longest, greatest career it's ever happened. Jordan had the best peak career, I think,
Mm.
of all time by far. He took some years off for different reasons, but by far Jordan had the greatest peak, and I think he's the greatest player of all time. I think LeBron's sustained success though is insanely impressive.
Agreed.
I mean, this
Agreed.
man almost dropped a 40-point triple double at 38 years old in an elimination game on the verge of being
Yeah.
swept when he's like still kind of hurt. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. And we can't deny it. At some point we have to kind of acknowledge, maybe he's overachieving. 38 years old, 40-point triple double almost on a bad leg. I mean,
Yeah,
we're celebrating Patrick Mahomes for the same thing.
no doubt. I mean, best sustained career. Jordan's got the greatest peak. That's where I think it's at.
I like the distinction. I like the
Yeah.
distinction because a lot of people can't see the distinction between Jordan being a scorer and LeBron being a better player, potentially, or all around player. I'll say. I don't want to say better player. That's
Yeah.
but definitely. Okay. And I think you hit on something that I wanted to touch on next. There's a lot of rumors that Kyrie could be the Lakers' next sort of landing spot as they look for a point guard. And now we already know LeBron has definitely expressed interest in playing with his son, Bronny. What does it take to get Kyrie to LA? And does it work, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, Kyrie's contract is expiring, I'm pretty sure. Like,
Yes.
isn't it? It's expiring because I know that the Mavericks traded him with the hopes to sign him for
Mm-hmm.
long term, but like, I don't know. I know they were already talking about maybe getting traded to LA this past deadline. So who knows what happens there? I mean, I think it's going to be very interesting because Lakers are in a tough spot to where all these nice pieces that they had around LeBron AD this year, like they were effective. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Rui, Lonnie, and Austin Reeves won more
Mm-hmm.
games than anyone could expect for that team.
Agreed.
They need to find a way, I think, to keep those young guys there before going and saying, let's just go get Kyrie and throw the bag at him and it might work out, might not. I would rather go after the three young guys, keep AD and LeBron around for, a couple more years, see what
Mm-hmm.
happens, and then understand that you're going to have to eventually reload in a bigger capacity. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie is the answer. I don't think they win a championship with Kyrie. In that lineup, I think there's just too many good teams in the NBA, honestly, and maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but I think they'd make a big mistake because they wouldn't be able to sign Austin Reeves. And
Mm-hmm.
that kid's insanely impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is insanely good. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a flash in the pan, in my opinion, with him, which is insane for being undrafted to being able
Right.
to do that. He was on two different college teams too. It's not like he
Yeah.
was the star of one college team for 2 years and went into the NBA. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with the Lakers, but I don't think Kyrie's the answer there. Maybe they have 1 year to win the championship, and if they don't win it, it's a failure, and they don't have a core for the next 4 years.
Agreed. And I thought the same thing. I don't think he's the answer either. And we've seen what LeBron and Kyrie look like together. They went one for let's call it two or three for now.
Yeah.
One for three. It could happen, but I was talking to someone recently about it, and they said they may be willing to trade AD for Kyrie. Was that something you would even entertain if you're the GM?
I mean, both guys, I'm not really a big fan of. Like, their
Mm,
availability has been shoddy at best over the last 3
absolutely.
years. So, like, I honestly, like, while AD, man, 81 game looks like freaking prime Hakeem Olajuwon. Next game, he
Mm-hmm.
looks like he's like washed up. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a player that's a superstar. That's a player that's talented and inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. They're in a tough spot because they got a lot of health that they're dealing with. Like, if they stayed injured, that team was not making the playoffs. If they
Mm-hmm.
had 2 more weeks of injuries from LeBron, and kudos to LeBron for coming back and getting them there, they weren't
Yep.
making the playoffs. So
Yep.
Man, it's a tough spot. I don't know.
No, I agree, and I think
Like
the
I
Clippers
don't
find
think I
themselves.
don't think either way you're like on the green side of the grass.
Yep,
All
I think the
honesty.
same thing. I think the same thing because availability wise, they're available for two different reasons, but it's still a question. And I
Yeah.
think the Clippers find themselves in a very similar situation with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. It's
Mhm.
very tough to kind of rely on them long term and say we're going to get to a certain spot when they're not available.
If either of those teams had full health, both of them would have had a shot to be in the finals every single year for the last 3 years.
I absolutely agree. 100% agree with you. And they just keep adding pieces and getting better, but it's just the stars availability is
I mean,
just
I feel bad for the
questionable.
Clippers. Ty Lue's a wizard at coach, and
Exactly.
they would have beat the Suns with even just one of those guys healthy because they had
Exactly.
neither of them healthy for the most of the series, and they were taking them to the brink every game. So like,
Yep.
I feel bad for honestly the Clippers because I really wish that they would have been in the finals at some point here.
I think so too. And with Kawhi healthy, I think they would have done it. I think Paul George would have given you the extra
100%.
oomph, but with Kawhi, they would have done it, I think.
I think that the Nuggets and Clippers series, healthy Clippers, that's a 7 game series toss up
Yep.
at who's in the finals.
Yep. They match up very well too. A lot of good.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a really good matchup actually.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I wanted to hit on a couple pieces. I know we're running out of time here, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know we talked about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese in person last time, and so I mean, I found this stat the other day that I thought would be interesting just to talk through with you. But about 19,000 Canadian fans filled the Scotiabank Arena to see the Lynx and the Sky play. Now, to me, that's indicative of a growing popularity in the WNBA. But what I'm really interested in hearing is whether or not you think that could mean, and I think we talked about this in person, whether that could mean or transference of popularity to female-led sports cards. Is that something you foresee, especially with globalization sort of taking over and international play kind of happening more?
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, my dad and I had this discussion. Like, there's some really great female athletes out there. Their cards are like worth nothing. Like
Mm,
Brianna Stewart cards were like worth nothing. Alex Morgan
mm,
cards were even really cheap. 3 years ago, and yeah, they got some love. They got some heat, which is great to see. Serena Williams, had some
mm,
record sales. I think from an overall popularity point, the overall market still isn't like looking at women's sports cards and saying like, yeah, I want those in my collection. To be fair, I don't have many at this moment. I think I maybe have like an Alex Morgan or something like that hanging around. But
mm,
I think what's going to happen is that Caitlin Clark's entry into the WNBA a year from now. I
mm,
think she's about to have a massive last year at Iowa. She obviously had a massive previous year.
mm.
Really put women's basketball on the map. That semifinal and final for March Madness was extremely watched by the public, which I don't remember happening ever.
All right.
Um, and I have massive respect for women's basketball players. I played against the Madison women's basketball team, UW Madison's the Badgers, for a semester in college because they
All right.
needed people to play against them on like a practice squad
Yeah.
basis where like we would mimic the other team. So I was playing as like a post player from like I remember like Iowa and a couple of these different
All
places.
right.
It's funny. This was like 4 years ago, or sorry, maybe even 6 years, 7 years ago now, 6, 7 years ago. So before Caitlin Clark's time.
Mm,
But I think that her going to the WNBA is going to bring a lot of people watching the games. People are going to
mm,
want to watch her play just like they want to watch Messi or they want to watch LeBron or Steph Curry type of thing. Like it's going to be a similar thing, but just for women's basketball.
mm,
And I think that if anything, that will bring people to then say, well, I can't afford Caitlin Clark's autograph. Who can I afford? Who does she play against? I can afford. So like, I'm not saying that you should go and load up on WNBA cards. I'm not even
right.
saying that at all. I'm just saying like from like a perspective of like how can the sport grow? It's going to be like that, I think. And I
Mm,
cannot wait to hopefully get my hands on an autograph of hers from one of these two
yeah.
university products. I think her Inception and Bowman Chrome autos will be the sought after ones for the long term because they were first released. And not only that, but the Iowa fan base is massive for this type
Mm,
of thing. Everyone started watching Caitlin Clark because of her play at Iowa. And I think that they'll matter more long term than her WNBA cards. I had some people disagree with me on that. I think it's around a 50-50 poll on our Instagram story. I
mm.
asked people literally, like, would you rather have these Inception or Chrome autos or her future WNBA cards? And it's like a 50-50 poll. So we'll see. But I would for sure rather have an Iowa card. That's where she made waves. That's where people started to love her, follow her. So I can't wait to see what happens there.
Definitely. And I guess you bring up a good point. Something we hit on earlier is it would be definitely associated with the memory of watching that college series, or at least one of those college series, assuming
Yeah.
she has a crazy year this next year. And I mean, I can't see she doesn't have another crazy year considering the competition she's up against. She's already been here before. She's already seen it. She knows what to expect. I, like you, am expecting a big year from her as well. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Definitely. And I think you hit it on the head. There is a a clear distinction between collegiate cards as well as professional cards, and then there even may be a popularity of value in terms of college over professional.
Not to mention the way these cards are getting released now. This is not the old method of draft picks from Panini where it arrives like when the NFL season starts. These are happening like a year or two before players turn professional. This is just like baseball prospect investing. And people say, oh, well, they're in their pro uniforms at Bowman Chrome. True, but they're airbrushed. I don't know if you know this, but any Bowman Chrome autograph, from at least the new ones for sure, they're not actually in a Brewers jersey. They're playing in their like spring training or like rookie ball jerseys, and then they airbrush them to make it look like they're in the MLB jersey. It's not that they're even playing in the MLB yet. It's
Wow.
like that's what it is for these college cards now, these university cards. And like, I'm excited about them, to say the least. And not everyone has to be. I'm not saying that you should be excited about them. I love college sports. I went to so many games in college, so I'm a big fan.
No, it's like you said, it's what's best for you as the collector in terms of memories or whatever makes you happy. Definitely
100%, Avante.
So I'm gonna wrap it up here just with one more thing. I gotta hit your grails. I mean, doing my research, I was like, okay, this guy is on another level. All right, so doing my research, I saw you had the '08 Kobe LeBron Topps Chrome Refractor, something you can't easily get. Christian Yelich, and I had to look at this a couple times. Christian Yelich, 2018 Topps Heritage High Number Master Set, all 16 cards.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was crazy. I was like, okay,
I put that together in less than 3 months in college.
I don't believe you.
My junior year, I think I got the Superfractor like 4th, and after that, just sky's the limit on those cards for me personally, from like a fandom perspective.
No, yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I looked and I go, "There's no way. There's no way. I don't believe you did it in 3 months. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. 16 in 3 months. Oh my gosh.
1 of 1s, out of 5s, out of 15s, the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, I don't believe you. You also had if you're a basketball fan, this is the grail. LBJ Topps Chrome Rookie Refractor in Gem Mint.
It's gone now, but I had it at one point. Yeah.
Right. And I was just like fascinated that you even had it. Like, to just see it and touch it is just an amazing feat. But wow. And not to mention something we hit on earlier at the beginning of the show, the Hank Aaron 54 Topps Rookie. Legend of legend.
That's the one. It's in an SGC 3 now. I got cross graded. Looks beautiful in the black tuxedo slab, framed like a piece of art. Never leaving my collection. Finally acquired in 2019 at the National, and I love it.
So with that, then what the heck could you possibly be chasing next?
I have no clue, man. Honestly, I'm a big, see it, want it person. Yep. The only, I don't really have like I need to find that card. I need to get that card. We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, I just love the thrill of the chase. It's all about finding something new, finding something next. So when I find it, though, I'm sure you'll see and I'll post it.
I'll be watching. So I'll end it there. Thank you so much, Aaron, for giving us just a little bit of your time and talking through this. This has been amazing. Just talk through the hobby and talk through the sports and everything else. I really appreciate this, and I hope this isn't the last time we talk.
I appreciate it, Avante. Thank you so much, man.
No problem. Thank you. Hope to talk with you soon. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.